A storyteller, the Red River's meandering curve through Shreveport had always been, whispering tales of steamboats and shotgun shacks, of jazz riffs flowing into gospel hymns under moss-draped oaks. This had been the case for as long as anybody could remember. On the other hand, on October 4, 2025, when the first ever Chicken and Blues Festival was being held on the sun-kissed lawns of Louisiana State University Shreveport, the river appeared to be quiet and attentive. It was a family-friendly feast of fried wings slathered in cayenne-kissed sauce, cornbread slabs boiling with collard greens, and stages pulsing with the raw thud of blues legends and upstarts alike. The campus pulsed like a second heartbeat for the Arc-the-Tex region from 10 in the morning until 10 in the evening. It was a love letter to cultural heritage, at which the sizzling of cast-iron skillets met the cry of harmonicas, pulling 5,000 souls under a sky that had been bruised purple by the time dusk arrived. And who is the main attraction of it all? The newly crowned king of American Idol Season 23, Jamal Roberts, whose voice could call forth fire from embers or balm from brokenness, has been voted the winner of the competition. Jamal Roberts, who is 27 years old and hails from Meridian, Mississippi, where the piney woods cradle the spirit like a worn-out prayer book, was not born into the spotlight, rather he was fashioned in them. As he was growing up in a choir loft, harmonizing with his sisters Harmony, Lyric, and Jana, and weaving the notes through family dinners of gumbo and grace, November 6, 1997 marked his introduction into a world that would test his tenor at an early age. Music was not a pastime, rather it was oxygen. By the time Jamal auditioned for American Idol in 2025, he had already become the father of those 3 girls, and the sound of their laughter was the key to his aspirations. With eyes as smooth as polished onyx, he would tell the cameras, "I sing for them," with the intention of demonstrating what is possible when one does not give up. It was a revelation to see him perform Fantasia's I Believe with a quiver that peeled back America's armor, jute lyre and unpretty with jelly roll in a finale that was as raw as moonshine, and win the crown on May 18 with a cover of The Temptations that left judges Lionel Richie and Katy Perry in tears. His Season 23 arc was a revelation. Heal was a track that sewed wounds with its whispery plea, "Let the light in, let it mend." Overnight, he became the voice, a combination of gospel and soul music. It debuted at #1 on Billboard. Shreveport, on the other hand, was not Hollywood's sheen. Rather, it was native roughness, a bayou baptism for a prominent figure who was still shaking off the confetti. 3 stages surrounded by food trucks selling everything from Nashville chicken sliders to Louisiana lynx. Craft beers flowing like the river itself, and kids' zones where face-painted tots banged on bucket drums were some of the things that the festival's organizers, visionaries from CJ Enterprises, had dreamed up for this debut. While local brass bands paraded second-line steps through the audience with feathers bobbing like defiant flags, blues titans such as Tab Benoit warmed the main stage with slide guitar magic using slide guitars. The anticipation, however, became more intense as the clock moved closer and closer to 8 o'clock. Jamal is present, according to the whispers. Idol contestant who has a voice that sounds like it came straight from heaven. He was pacing backstage under a tent that was draped with fairy lights, wearing pressed trousers and a fresh white t-shirt, with gold chain glinting on his skin. It was a peaceful storm, and he was speaking with his band while peeking at images of the females on his phone. The DJ from KOK Gospel Radio, who had grey hair, was the MC, and he held the microphone as if it were a lifeline. Well, ready for something holy. The throng, which consisted of people dressed in a variety of outfits, including sundresses, Stetsons, and toddler overalls, reacted with a roar, the sound reaching a peak similar to that of a flood on the Red River. The fog machines spread hazy ghosts across the stage, and spotlights cut through the twilight as Jamal's band slunk into position. The bass throbbed low like a heartbeat, and the keys shimmered like hot lightning. Then there is the individual himself. The deep, polite manners of Meridian met the swagger of Shreveport as he marched out of the room. He did not perform any of the pyrotechnics that Idol was known for. He yelled out Shreveport, with a voice that was already dominating the night like kudzu. "We bout to heal together tonight." And with that, the first notes of Heel began to unfold. At first, they were performed a cappella, with his falsetto cutting clean through the humid air, and a father was seen elevating his kid to see the miracle occur. The throng momentarily froze and then melted. What came next was not merely a setlist, rather, it was a sermon in song, a 45-minute exorcism of the aches and pains of ordinary life. Mississippi, Jamal's most recent single, is a swampy tribute to pine-scented roots, with fiddles sobbing over lyrics of lost lovers and lightning bugs. Jamal prowled the stage like a panther in prayer, and sweat beaded his brow as he delved into the song. Located in the vicinity of the Pearl, where the cotton rustles softly, people in the crowd, many of whom were transplants from Bossier City, which is located nearby, or haulers from oil fields in Texas, leaned in closer, identifying their own ghosts. This was followed by a flawless transition into a cover of Otis Redding's Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, which he transformed into a gospel-tinged rendition, with his ad-libs reaching octaves that tickled the stars. An unexpected turn of events occurred in the middle of the performance. He invited a local blues harpist to join him on stage. Their improv duel was a call and response that had the front row stomping in time, with dust rising up like applause from the ground itself. It was all filmed on mobile devices, with videos going viral on Instagram, TikTok feeds flooded with hashtag Jamal in Shreveport, and admirers annotating their posts. The voice of this man is like a chapel on fire. Jamal's charm, however, was not limited to melody, rather it was ministry. He told pieces of his story in between the songs Ain't No Sunshine and Ain't No Sunshine, which was a tribute to Bill Withers that caused the lights to dim for dramatic effect. With the microphone turned down low, he added, "Grew up singing in the pews, believing that one day this voice would carry me home." His eyes were searching faces that were lit by glow sticks. Tonight, Shreveport is a lot like that home. How are you all doing with your meals? Doesn't that sound like chicken? As he spoke about his daughters, the laughter rose to a crescendo, but then it subsided. This crown, it goes to them, and evenings such as these. These items are intended for us, the dreamers who are still waiting for their chance. A single mother who was sitting in the third row and nursing a plate of jambalaya had her tears wiped away with a napkin while she gave a firm nod. Jamal's comments hit like rain on broken clay, nurturing the unspoken hungers that were beneath the feast that was being served at the festival. This was in a region where the economic winds blow in a mercurial manner, with casinos thriving and manufacturing going away. The encore was building up like a storm front as the clock slowly approached 9:30. He smirked and began to play a unique riff on Chain of Fools, transforming it into a soul blues rendition, while the horns of his band blared triumphantly. "One more," he announced. It was as if a human flood was moving ahead, with voices merging together in a ragged melody. In time with his concluding, soaring refrain from Heel, fireworks were exploding in the sky, coloring the sky in crimson and gold. These fireworks were graciously provided by festival sponsors. In the midst of his fervor, Jamal lowered himself to his knees, palms facing upward, and the platform became an altar. Before a thundering ovation engulfed the silence, the only sounds that could be heard were the cooing of a newborn and the sound of a river lap in the distance. He rose, bowed once more, and blew kisses to the sea of faces, who were strangers but were now relatives. The reverberation of dawn continued to reverberate 2 days later, on October 6, when Shreveport was buzzing with afterglow. The social media platforms were flooded with pictures of fans, including Jamal signing autographs beside the chicken tent, posing with LSU codes wearing Blues Fest t-shirts, and even a video that went viral showing him giving advice to a seller on Source. The event's debut etched permanency into the cultural calendar, and the organizers tallied the victories, which included the feeding of thousands of people, not only bodies but also spirits. It was a turning point for Jamal. He went from being a pressure cooker on American Idol to being authentic in the Bayou, and his tour dates are now littered with heartland spots. Shreveport reminded me, he would post on Instagram, a photo surrounded by confetti and collards, "Music's the bridge. We make the journey together." Jamal Roberts' Shreveport Swing was a single that stood out in the big jukebox of American fantasies. It was soulful, spicy, and unforgettably alive. A true anthem is not one on television. Rather, it is hummed in the heat of community, one fried feather and one ardent note at a time. The Chicken and Blues Festival held a winner, but it also crowned a witness.